All right, guys. So tonight's episode of the Pitchfork Podcast special edition is going to be I am Pro-BLM, change my mind, guys. I am Pro-BLM, change my mind. I'm looking to have my mind changed tonight. Why should I not be Pro-BLM? I just want to know why. All right, guys. I want to know why I should not be Pro-BLM. Now, I'm not saying that by saying Black Lives Matter, that white lives don't matter. You know, that's one of the common misconceptions about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter sentiment is not an admission that white lives don't matter. Okay. All right, so I'm giving you guys ways in which to participate in the show. If you want to participate in the show, guys, you can dial 253-203-6784. Again, number to dial in is 253-203-6784. Once again, the number to dial in is 253-203-6784. That way we can have a conversation. We can actually talk. We can actually talk to each other, you know, and not be strangers. So I find that all too often, we treat each other as strangers in our own countries. And I find that to be so unfortunate. I think that's sad that we don't talk to each other as countrymen, you know. And you know, I will admit that I could have been a lot nicer in my approach with certain things. However, I guess some of the anger that I was expressing, it was coming from a place of just frustration. You know, just frustration whereas people would just say things and not really back them up, you know. And they just attack things and they would justify things that just it just make me very, very angry. And I'll admit I was angry about it, you know. But for right now, I just want to have a conversation. Let's talk. You guys say that you want to talk. People that are anti-BLM, they want to talk. Well, then let's talk. Let's talk. Let's have the conversation. You know, let's have the conversation. Right? I'm right here. I am Pro-BLM. Change my mind, or just ask me anything. Right? Ask me anything. Ask me. I want to know what you want to know about BLM. Ask me anything. The Skype lines are open, guys. I'm waiting for a call. Also, my Discord server is open. I'm waiting for someone to join. And just have the conversation. I am Pro-BLM. Ask me anything or change my mind. You know? I want to know what it is that makes people believe that BLM is somehow against white people. That because someone says, you know, Black lives matter, that white lives don't matter. I want to understand that, right? I want to understand that. I'm open to talking. I'm here. I decided to have this episode because I get so many of these comments, right? Right? We get so many of these comments. And when I look forward to having conversations with people about, you know, and having discussions, right? I just want to understand what it is that makes you guys think that I won't have the conversation. Because I'm here. I'm here. I want to have the conversation. You know? I'm here. Let's talk. What is it about Black Lives Matter that makes you think that when someone says Black Lives Matter, right, that white lives don't matter? I want to understand this logic, right? Because I never quite understood it. What is it about Black Lives Matter that makes so many people attack it, in that it just appears like it almost comes across, it comes across like people want to attack black people, but don't really have a way of doing it, so they just attack Black Lives Matter, and that's fine and everything, that's how you want to go about it. But once again, I want to understand, why is it that when people like me want to have the conversation, now all of a sudden people don't want to have the conversation? Why is it that people don't want to talk now? All of a sudden nobody wants to talk. Cat got the tongue, and I want to have the conversation. I'll have it peacefully. I have it real peacefully. I just want to understand, what is it that could make people have the discussion without, without all the smoke and mirrors, What is it that could make people have the conversation without all the smoke and mirrors? Right? That's what I want to know. What can I do to make people have the conversation without all the smoke and mirrors? Without all the deflections, the nonsense, the reasons why? What can I do as a person to facilitate the conversation so that we are at least being honest with one another? That when we talk to each other, it's not just talking past each other, but it's actually a conversation, and it's actually an honest one. What can I do? People say, "Oh, well, I want to listen." You block. Okay. Well, I'm here now. Show me different, right? The reason why I did all that is because a lot of people won't show me different. Show me different. Tell me why you think Black Lives Matter is so bad. No, I don't want text. No. I give people too many opportunities to call into this show. I'll even mute myself. You can go ahead and talk. That's fine. But I will get a word in. Yes, I will. It's not your show. I want to give people an opportunity to speak up. But that's where it ends. See, some people have this idea that if you don't let them run your channel, and you're somehow censoring them. I'm not going to make my channel about pro-Trump, pro-police, pro-race realism bullshit. That's not going to be my channel. You understand that? I think most people kind of get that. So I want people to at least attempt to ask me legitimate questions. Ask me, why am I pro-BLM? No one's bothered to ask me that, right? No one's ever bothered to ask me that. It's always been, you're stupid for being BLM. You're stupid. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what. You're stupid. And it's like, but these are the same people who's always saying, let's have a conversation, right? Yet every time I try to have a conversation, you can never have the actual conversation, because it's going to be so riddled with lies, inaccuracies, and BS. That's why I can never get a word in unless I force the issue. And I don't want things to be that way. But unfortunately, some people leave me no choice, and that's just sad. But like I said, people say they want to have a conversation, everything else. Let's talk. Don't riot, guys. Don't riot. Well, then let's talk then. I'm here. Show me how committed you are to having conversations. Because you're about to see exactly why conversations don't happen. Because whenever you want to have the conversation, you can't get a word in. They want to talk all over you, not let you rebut anything. They won't concede anything. Anything. It'll be one-sided as hell. And all these people got so much to say. Where are they now? You know, it just comes across like internet tough guy, you know, types of bullshit. Internet tough guy bullshit. Whereas these people show up, they call you all these names, they say all this silly shit, right? But then when you say, okay, fine. Explain to me your ideas. Explain to me your ideas. You know? And what I quickly notice is the reason why these people believe the things that they believe. I quickly notice it. No one ever really questions these people's beliefs. They never stop them and say, hey, I think you're wrong. Hey, I don't think that what you said was actually accurate. I think that, you know, what you said is bullshit. Right? So, I think that what's happened, especially in my case, is that I and many others have become a stand-in for the rage that's directed towards other people. That's what I think has happened. I think that some people out there have a real tough time with accepting the fact that not everyone's going to agree with you, and that me, you know, just saying the things that I say doesn't mean in any way that I'm somehow devaluing your life. BLM is a good organization. They're overall good. Their methods are terrible. And the people that they associate with, also terrible. But I ain't got a problem with the group anymore. Right? I ain't got a problem with the group. Who I got a problem with, right, are the people who are dishonest. The people who don't want to just tell the truth and you know, I just want to understand, right? Why is it that we can't have honest conversations about anything? Why is it that when we discuss Black Lives Matter, the rage that I see towards the group, it doesn't seem to match what the group actually does? Why does it so suspiciously seems like the reason why these people are so angry is less to do with Black Lives Matter, it's more to do with black people? Why does it appear that way? Now I'm not saying that I'm right. I could very well be wrong about that, but it just, I get that sneaky suspicion, you know. Just call it a hunch. Call it a hunch, but I get that suspicion. And it's so unfortunate because I know so many people who are not like that. And unfortunately, many people on the right get tarred and feathered because of certain other idiots. And unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's not fair. I know it's not fair. But it happens. It happens. So I'm just curious as to where all these people who had so much to say. So much to say. I mean, they had so much to say and to spout from their freaking lips. Where are all these people, right, who are talking all this smack about BLM, about how horrible BLM is, about how horrible, you know, anyone who associates with BLM is? it is extremely interesting now. All of a sudden, whenever you want to have the conversation and you actually call them out, you know, you call them out. You call them out by name. You make time. You make a special stream just for them, and yet some of them still don't have the courage to come and discuss things with you. And I find that to be awfully interesting, don't you? Don't you? I find that to be very, very interesting. I find it to be so interesting, right? That I think I'm going to make this a revolving theme. I'm going to keep calling out these people until they come out and start having the conversation. Yes, I've had great conversations with some people. Great conversation with some people, right? But I want people to talk. You know, the reason why I was moderating the comments of a lot of trolls and stuff is basically because they stop conversations. If you're just trolling, you're not really, you know, you're not really pushing forward a conversation, because it's only really a game to you. Everything's only a game to you. And there's some of us who would love to have a conversation about real issues, about real stuff that people are going through. Some of us would really, really like to discuss that. But if you have people who refuse to have conversations, who are going to just make racist memes, racist nonsense, you know, silly stuff, right? I fail to understand what the strategy is here. If I'm trying to have a conversation with people and trying to get them to talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, get them to talk about, you know, I just I don't like people not having the conversation and then pushing conspiracy theories on top of that. Like, for example, with QAnon, you know, with the whole spirit cooking nonsense. You know, I sat there for a long time, right? I sat there for a long time, and I tried to, you know, I tried to understand why people were saying things that they were saying about, you know, spirit cooking, that kind of stuff. And so they came to me with these video ideas. They wanted me to, you know, have a conversation about it, right? And I stopped. I refused to make the content, and it was mainly because I didn't want to hear, you know, about a conspiracy theory about satanic pedophiles, because it sounded so fucking ridiculous. You know, it sounded so fucking ridiculous. It sounded so off the wall. You know, it just, it didn't add up. You know, but once again, you got people downvoting the video already. Okay, call in. I'm right here. Let's have a conversation. Because I guarantee you that they won't. And this is why they hate it when I do these kind of streams. Because what it shows is that people, you know, there was no reason for me to ever take you seriously. But I will use your presence as content. Number to call in is 253-203-6784. Once again, number to call in is 253-203-6784. You know, if someone has something to say, they can come say it. I'm right here. But, you know, it's very easy to hide behind your keyboard. You know, it's not my fault that your president lost. It's not my fault that you lost your business. In fact, it's not my fault for any of your freaking rage. You can be upset. You can be angry. But guess what? None of that, and I mean none of that, right? None of that is going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to be here, guys. I'm going to be here for a long time, and I'm going to keep making this content. And I know it drives some people crazy. It makes some people angry. It makes them cry. It hurts their feelings. It hurts their feelings that I say such things. But you know what? I'm not going to say fuck your feelings. What I am going to say is discuss your feelings. Why are you so angry at me? I said something mean to you. I hung up on you. Why are you so angry? Why are you running? You know? Tell me. Do I intimidate you? I hope not. You know, I'm actually a pretty nice guy in real life, and that I hope many people realize that what you get a lot of times is a character. It's YouTube. You know. But then you get some people out there who just take YouTube way too seriously, man. So you get the crazy doxing campaigns, you get the campaigns where people start lying on you. You get the crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. And it's quite bizarre. And I guess the most bizarre part about it is that people out there, right? You know, whenever you mention things like Black Lives Matter, or you mention, you know, police violence, or you mention the fact that certain people out there say some pretty stupid racist shit, you know, what you will inevitably get, right? Right? What you will inevitably get are the people who will come at you with everything to try to like discredit you, right? Everything. You're crazy, you're dumb, you're stupid, and you're a far left libtard. Do you know what I count all that as? Right? The last gasp, right, of people who see changing demographics. People who are dealing with the exact same things that we dealt with for a long time. Demographics change, guys. Just gotta deal with it. You may not like it. You may not care for it. But demographics always change. And it's gonna always be like that. I really hope you know. So I want people to be honest when they say we want to have a conversation. We want to talk about the issues, about Black Lives Matter, about why, you know, people are protesting in the streets, why what happened over the summer happened. We need to have the conversation. We need to talk about it. We need to be honest about it. And what I don't need to hear anymore is a bunch of stupid talking points. Think for yourself. Think for your fucking self, man. Good God. Think for yourself. You know, I want to know, right? Why is it that whenever I go live or I try to have the conversation, you either get just stupid downvotes, stupid trolling, or no conversation actually even happens. See, that's why I do the things that I do. If I see a difference in behavior, you wouldn't see what you're seeing from me. But I only respond to what I get. You know. So again, if you want to hide behind in the comment section, that's totally fine. If you want to hide it's the downvotes, that's fine. But the country is changing, whether you like it or not. The country is changing. That's a fact. Right? That's a fact. The country's changing. Right? And that's going to be reality. There's no need to struggle this hard about it, right? There's no need to put this kind of energy into it. I get, you know, that for some people, this might be scary. Change in the country might be scary. I understand that for some people, demographic change is just horrifying. But the way you should look at it is not that the demographics are changing, that you're losing your country because it's getting darker. That's not how you should see it. Even though I know that's how some people see it. You're not losing your jobs or losing money because the country's getting darker. You're losing your jobs and losing your money because many of you have allowed politicians to control and manipulate you. You know, it's hard to take personal responsibility, so it's always easy to blame a Mexican. Hard to take personal responsibility, easy to blame a Mexican. You know, poor Jorge, you know, he's probably came over to this country, and he probably came over illegally, and people jumping up and down his throat, you know, and they're so harsh with people, right? They're so harsh with them, right? You know, you're talking about people who have already been here as, you know, illegal as children of illegal immigrants, and you know, when asked about those people, you typically get answers like, you know, fuck them, you know, they got to go home. I don't care. It's like that level of carelessness, that level of just inhumanity. It makes you worry about the country, about the future of the country. It makes you worry that we have so many people out there that are so willing to throw away their fellow citizens. And not for the sake of anything good, but for the sake of politics. Because I can guarantee you that most of the people who are saying this nonsense, they don't particularly care about the issues at the southern border. They just care that someone out there told them that the evil Mexicans are taking their jobs, and now they have somebody to blame. You know, here's a simple reality. If it wasn't for our drug war, if it wasn't for America shipping so many jobs overseas due to political bias and political influence, an influx of special interest groups lobbying, maybe your job would actually still be here. That's the harsh reality, but it's much easier to blame Jorge or Alejandro or whatever other Hispanic name. It's much easier to blame them. It's much easier to blame China instead of the politicians who are selling you out to China and Mexico and other countries. It's much easier just to blame them. It's always easier. You don't want to question your vote for racist ass Lindsey Graham, because then you have to question yourself. Then you gotta start being honest with yourself and other people about the truth about what's actually happened. Then you gotta start being honest, right? Then you can't just blame the Mexican or just blame the darkie or just blame the Asian man or blame the freaking China man. You have to actually start addressing your own internal issues there, right? So I get it. I get it. People out there love this idea, right? They are victims. And if you give them the person who supposedly has wronged them, they will always flock and gravitate towards you. Just like, for example, that's what happened with the alt-right. That's what happened with Trump supporters. That's what happened with the freaking left. The left told people, the far left told people, that white people were like, the worst thing ever. When the fact of the matter is, yeah, there are white people out there who are pieces of shit, who make untold black people's lives miserable. But is that every last one of them? Of course not. Of course not. But just like that, on the right, you have people out there who will tell you that, oh, it's the blacks. It's the blacks. Overdrive asks, do you think a BLM should remain a Democrat-allied movement, or should it seek its own political presence? I would say yes, personally. I would say yes. I would say they should probably at least align themselves with multiple parties. I would like to see BLM align more with the Libertarian Party. I would like to see BLM form their own political party. I would like to see. I mean, listen. Even if it's BLM, I don't care. So long as we see more political parties, I'm down for it. I can dig it. But I definitely think that at some point BLM definitely needs their own lobbying force, and it kind of got that done over the summer. You saw that a lot in Georgia with the whole get out and vote thing. So you kind of saw that kind of coalition, and you can kind of see how that can shape up and kind of amalgamate into something that's kind of bigger and more national. Something that's kind of serves as kind of a breaking out point for a more national type of movement. I'm not sure like what you would call that per se, but I'm not sure that I would be crazy about centering it strictly around Black Lives Matter. I would like it to be more liberty minded, because Black Lives Matter, they started as an NGO, a non-government group. So I mean, I would like it to stay like non-government, and I would like to see more involvement with the political parties, and not so much them. I would definitely like to see them form their own party, but at the same time, I would like to see them work more with both sides, like the sides that we have now, until they can form their own party. Go to whoever the highest bidder is. Republicans got money too. Milk them for it. Shit. I mean, these Republican politicians have no problems milking you for damn tax money. Lindsey Graham, he's not hungry. Chris Christie ain't missed no goddamn meals. So I say milk them. But I think the biggest thing is that black people have to become political free agents. You got to go to whoever is giving you the best deal at that time. Don't matter if it's Democrat, don't matter if it's Republican, don't matter if it's Libertarian, doesn't matter if it's Independent, it doesn't matter if it's Socialist, Communist, Fascist, not Fascist, but whoever's giving you the best deal at that time. We shouldn't have a damn home party. There should be no such thing as political fans right now. That's one thing that I preach more than anything else. No political fans, man. I'm tired of political fans. None of these motherfuckers care about you. So why are you fans of them? That's the one problem that I do have. One of the multiple problems that I do have with BLM is that, you know, I always encourage every member of BLM, anyone that ever like identifies with the movement, you know, become political free agents, man. Go for milk every side for all the money you can get. Become political free agents. You know, you don't owe Democrat shit. You don't owe Republican shit. You don't owe nobody shit. You know, do exactly what the Jewish community does, the Asian community, the white community. Do exactly what they do. Milk every side for all you can get out of them. Milk every side. And I think that we got a good head start in Georgia because I think the black community is finally an actual voting bloc in Georgia. You know, like what happened with the general election. You know, I think that's good. It's a great head start, but I would like to see more personally. I want to see, you know, what is it, what are BLM's plans, you know, for the overall future for the black community if they have an envision like goal, because the one thing that people seem to have this misconception of, right? This idea of is that we're all like this hive mind, that we have like these secret meetings and shit, and it's like that's not the case, man. Like, most of us don't even agree with each other. Like, most times, most of us don't even see eye to eye. Like, you get like the more tanky types, right? And you know, like me and communists don't really get along a lot because they're more like they're more like super duper pro government. And hey, if you watch any of my material, I don't strike you as that. So I just one of the biggest reasons why I don't like cops is because they work for the damn government. So I mean, I'm just not. You know, like that's my consistent pattern. I've worked for the government for so long to the point where I don't trust them under any circumstance, right? And so pretty much, you know, if you're government, I automatically fucking hate you. I fucking hate your guts. I don't care if you work at the goddamn DMV. Fuck you, you piece of shit. That's how I treat them. You know, like and people think that cops are like special in that regard. They're not. Like, I hate all government. Like, that's just who I am. That's all I've always been. Like, I'm uber paranoid when it comes to government too, man. Like, and that's the one thing that I gotta be careful of, because, you know, like sometimes I have gone off into conspiracy theories because I hate the government like that much. I always think that they are up to no good because I'm usually fucking right. You know, I'm just saying. I hate these motherfuckers. Like, seriously, like, people think that I like the Democrats. Are you out of your fucking mind? Have you seen any of my content? Like, listen, I just said earlier in the first pitch for a podcast, like 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just earlier on this day, I said I hope Nancy Pelosi gets hit by a fucking car. I said that on a live chat. And you think that I like Democrats? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what? Being pro-BLM and not liking cops does not automatically mean that you're a Democrat. I know a lot of black Republicans who want police reform. I know a lot of white people, you know, who are anti-BLM, who are boogaloo boys, right? But they got problems with the goddamn cops too. So I mean, like, it's just, again, this idea that you can't pry black people from the Democrat Party is not true. If you would just end the stupid reliance on loving the cops, this shit's ridiculous. Like, that shit's killing votes. And the problem with the freaking Republican Party, right? The problem with that is, historically, you're not cop lovers. That's the weird part about it. Historically, you're not cop lovers. Overdrive in the YouTube chat says true. LOL. LMAO. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You know, historically, you're not cop lovers. You know, you are the party of Lincoln. You are the party of civil rights. That's the legacy of the Republican Party. They wouldn't have their Confederate flags and shit. They wouldn't have their race fearless and shit. They wouldn't have people out there justifying goddamn police shootings and shit. No, it's not that the Republican Party became more racist. That the Republican Party became bootlickers. And once you become bootlickers, you lend yourself to racist conspiracies because again, people always accuse the left of loving government. Well, what do we also know about people on the far left? Well, they go into conspiracy theories about all kind of crazy shit. They believe heavily in racial politics, right? And tell me what is the difference between that and the goddamn right? Right now. I mean, right now in this moment. Right now. There's not a whole lot of difference there. So what you're seeing there is that there appears to be a bit of a casual link there. That where you have people, you know, who are more hardcore into conspiracy nonsense, who are more hardcore into just believing anything that a strongman leader, you know, would pretty much say, and people who defend the government at every cost, defend costs, defend judges, keep voting for the same politicians so long as those politicians say the right things, like Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, you know. People like that. So most everything that the right accuses the left of, they're guilty of, but only worse. They're guilty of, but only worse, because what makes it worse is history. That's what makes it worse. That's what makes it almost insulting that the right has devolved into this. Right? And it's so divisive because if that wasn't the case, and if for a few other things, I would be on the right. And that's so goddamn sad that the right killed any chance of them getting people like me back on board. Because I just can't trust it. I don't want to see another Tamir Rice, you know, young boy, get gunned down, and people justify it. When I know if I would just spank my son, they would call that child abuse in many, many states. But it's somehow okay to just kill a child. That bothers me. And that I remember when I was posting a question, I asked, you know, is it ever okay for a police officer to slam a minor to the ground and start beating the kid up? I remember I asked that question, and it was a poll. And the answer, one of the answers that I got in that poll disturbed me. When I say it truly bothered me, like it bothered me because it was so cruel. I asked the question, the person, you know, based on the description that I gave, right? You can't justify that in any kind of way. And yet this person was still looking for a way to give the cop a fucking out. You know? I think I wanna show you this shit. I want you to see this shit. It is quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. I want you to see this shit. It is something that it just bothers me, you know, that people out there exist who are like this, you know. I guess I just want to go find that poll real quick that I took. And I was getting so mad. Like, I can't believe some people out there are like this. You know? I want to find this poll. God. There's a poll here. Yeah, here it goes. Is it ever justified for a police officer to slam an unarmed minor to the ground and beat them up? Just based on that description, right? Just based on that description, most reasonable, decent people who are not absolute monsters, right, would clearly say, okay, that's clearly not justified. Clearly, you can't just beat up children. That's obvious. That should just go without saying, right? Clearly, you shouldn't beat up children. Clearly, maybe no matter what happens, right? Maybe there's better ways to handle it. No matter what happens, there's better ways that you shouldn't slam children to the ground and just start beating them up. This person was looking for a way and out for the officer. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And it made me so mad. DD YLLA85 says, on the surface, I would say no. Is there additional info? What fucking additional info? If I tell you, right, if I ask you, is it ever justified for a police officer to slam an unarmed minor to the ground and beat them up? Again, I said unarmed, right? Minor, and beat them up. Is it ever justified? That's the description that I gave. Now you could say, right, I need more info. But you would immediately say, if you're not a complete piece of shit, you would immediately say, yeah, listen, full stop. You would just answer the question. You wouldn't ask for additional info unless I'm referring to a specific scenario. This is the type of person who looks to excuse anything a cop does and pretend like they're not doing it. Right? Texas. Yeah, Texas. You're from Texas. Yeah, I kind of figured. I didn't even click on their fucking profile. You're from goddamn Texas. Yeah, I kind of figured. Why am I not surprised? Why the fuck am I not surprised? Unbelievable. Who would need more information about a police officer slamming a fucking minor to the ground? Who needs more information with that kind of description? Who the fuck needs more context with that kind of description? That is just, listen, this is why I lose my damn temper, man. I want y'all to see this shit. Like, see that I'm not bullshitting. Do y'all see this shit? Who the fuck needs more context if that's what I'm telling you? On the surface, I would say, no. Is there additional info? Who the fuck? Bitch, did you read the goddamn question? Did you read the question? Based on the info that I asked you the goddamn question, is it right or is it fucking wrong? God damn. What context, under what context is it ever okay for an officer to slam an unarmed minor to the ground and then proceed to beat them up? What the fuck is wrong with you? And my response, I'm sorry. I think it's just fucking justified, right? The fact you didn't immediately say it was wrong given the description is sad to me, but yes, there is more. Please pray for your soul. Right? This is the case right here. Box. Police. This was the case that I was just reading about. Right. It was a case that I was just reading about, and it happened in 2019, but it was so extreme to the point where it just. it made me so angry. Like, police officer resigns after video shows him using excessive force on an 11-year-old girl. No, we're not gonna watch that. Oh my God, it's. She needed more context. She needed more context. She's an 11-year-old child. She's an 11-year-old child. Roughing up a fucking 11-year-old child. What's going on, White Rabbit? 11-year-old child, man. That person needed more context about an 11-year-old child being abused like that, man. Some people make me fucking sick, yo. Some people make me fucking sick, yo. Some people make me really angry. What more context do you need based on the description? I told that we're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this. It's pretty intense. Let's get ready for this.
Put your arms behind your back.
Ow! You're hitting my arm. Get off me. Ow!
As soon as he asks you.
Yes, I actually had a sub just
Turn over. Turn over.
As soon as he asks you.
Do not resist. Do not resist. Stop resisting.
Get off me. Ow! You're hurting me.
All right.
Stop.
You need more context, huh? You need more context to justify them abusing a black child like this.
Stop resisting.
Don't ever ask me for fucking context when I mention that shit about children ever again. Shut the fuck up. Now you see why I am. Whew. Some people make me fucking sick. Some people make me fucking sick, man. I was talking about a fucking child. What context do you need for a fucking child? Some people are just sick. Some people are just sick out there, man. What context do you need for a fucking child? I said a minor being beaten up by children, by a fucking officer. And yet, some people out there, they didn't understand it. They didn't understand the anger. I didn't understand it. I just personally don't get it. What more would it take to show that reformers are needed? What more would it take? What more would it take? I just want to know what more would it take to show reformers are needed. Just it's not so much what the cops are doing now. It's how some people justify it that makes me the saddest. It makes me so angry. It makes me rage out. And maybe one day I'll find peace, man. Maybe one day I don't have to be the devil guy all the time. But until we reach a day in which I'm talking about a minor being slammed to the ground by a police officer and then being beaten up, roughed up, the 11-year-old girl, until we reach the day in which I'm talking about that, and everyone in the room is instantly disgusted, we got work to do, y'all. We got work to do, y'all. That was a kid. And as you seen from the video, you can see why I got so damn mad, man. Like the girl screaming, like, and the principal even said that the girl's not a threat. Like, don't do this. And so the officer resigns because there's no way you justify that, man. It's a little girl, you know? I can't do that to a little girl, man. No one should ever do that to a little fucking girl. You know? She's just a kid. I don't care what she did. She's just a kid. She don't know no better. Kids aren't supposed to know any better. That's what children do, you know? And I was so disappointed when there were some people out there who wouldn't at least try to see that was wrong, man. I don't want to see kids get abused. I don't want to see American people get abused. I don't want to see anybody's country citizens be abused. I wish things were different. I wish things never had to go to violence or go to protesting or go to rioting or going to, you know, doing all that. Just to start the conversation. I don't want that. You don't want that. It's destructive. It doesn't help anybody, honestly. What are we gonna do? Yeah, I have the yes, the White Rabbit Acts. I have a call-in link. Yeah, I do. Let me post in the chat real quick. All right. Yeah, you can join my Discord right there. Join my server real quick, or here's the number right here. I know you're in the UK, so I wouldn't try to call that number unless you got free international calling, and that's just, you know, otherwise that'll be a little easier on you. But yeah, I guess like a lot of times when I'm angry, it's not so much like I'm angry, it's just disappointed. You know, we were the country of patriots. We were the country of questioning everything the government does, and now all of a sudden, one guy gets into office and we just stop doing that. You know, it's so weird. So weird, like how that happened. I remember, like, after 9/11, we were all in it together. We were all fighting together, and now all of a sudden, it's like back to pre 9/11. Everybody is just so paranoid of each other. Everyone's watching each other. No one trusts each other. It's always a revolving cycle. And people ask me all the time, like, how do I see things coming before they come? I don't see things coming before they come. I just look at things that have already happened, because we just repeat the same dumb shit that we've always done. That's just who we are as a species. You know, I just learned to accept that. That's just who we are as a species. And that there's very little chance that we're going to change course anytime soon. I wish I was wrong. I wish things were different, but unfortunately, it just seems like the more things change, the more they remain the same. And that's the saddest part. That's the saddest part about it, all of it. I want you all to be safe. Good night and good luck. But don't worry, I'll be back on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Bishop Podcast. Love you all. Horns up. Peace out.